He made me believe I was crazy, but turns out I was right all along. I am still trying to process how I let it go on for so long, how I ignored the signs, and convinced myself that I was overreacting. We were living the dream in Los Angeles, or so it seemed. My husband, Roberto, and I had built a life together that was envied by our friends. We had a thriving business, a beautiful home, and a social calendar that was always full. But behind closed doors, things were far from perfect. I remember the early days of our relationship, how Roberto would sweep me off my feet with his charm and good looks. He was my rock, my partner in every sense of the word. I trusted him with my life, and I thought he felt the same way about me. 10 years went by, and I thought we were stronger than ever. But looking back, I can see the cracks that were forming. At first, it was small things. He would delete his text messages and browser history regularly, and I would brush it off as him being protective of our private lives. But then he started picking fights over nothing before leaving the house. He would get angry and storm out, leaving me feeling confused and worried. And then there were the password changes. He changed his passwords on everything, and I thought maybe he was just being paranoid about security. But now, I know it was something much more sinister. I was deployed overseas for work, and Roberto was holding down the fort back home. He would call me every night, and I would listen to his stories about working late nights. I believed him, or at least I wanted to. I was proud of him for putting in so much effort, for being so dedicated to our business. But deep down, I was starting to feel like I was losing my grip on reality. He would get upset if I asked too many questions, and I would back off, not wanting to seem like I did not trust him. It was not until I discovered a second phone hidden in his car that my world came crashing down. I was digging through the glove compartment, looking for a receipt when I saw it. A phone I had never seen before, with a password-protected screen. My heart sank as I opened it and saw the messages, the emails, the social media accounts. It was all there, in black and white. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I could not breathe, could not think. All I could do was wonder who she was, and how long this had been going on. I started scrolling through the messages, and that's when I saw it. A conversation between him and her. They were making plans to meet up, to get tattoos. My mind reeled as I saw the pictures of their matching tattoos, with dates during our relationship. I was in shock, but I knew I had to keep digging. I started searching his car, his office, his phone, and what I found was just the beginning. I found emails, text messages, and photos. It was all there, evidence of an 8-month affair. 8 months of lies, of deceit, of betrayal. I could not sleep that night, my mind racing with questions and emotions. I felt like I was living in a nightmare, like this was all just a bad dream. But it was not. It was my reality, and I had to face it head on. The next day, I reached out to our mutual friend Sarah, who had always been a source of support for me. I told her everything, and she listened, her voice filled with shock and outrage. "I am so sorry, girl," she said. "I had no idea. You deserve so much better than him." But I knew I had to confront him, to make him face the truth. I could not just sit back and let him continue to lie to me. I decided to ambush him, to catch him off guard. I gathered all the evidence I had, and I went to his office. As I walked in, I could see the smug look on his face. He thought he was safe, that he had gotten away with it, but I was about to bring his world crashing down. "Roberto," I said, my voice shaking with anger. "We need to talk." He looked up, a look of concern on his face. "What's wrong?" he asked, but I could see the guilt in his eyes. I took a deep breath and let it all out. "I know about her," I said, my voice firm. "I know about the affair, the tattoos, the lies. I know everything." He looked like he had been punched in the gut, like he could not breathe. "How did you?" he stuttered. "I found the second phone in your car," I said, my voice cold. "I saw the messages, the emails, the photos. I know everything." He looked down, shame written all over his face. "I am sorry," he said, but it was too late for apologies. I felt a wave of anger wash over me, but I kept my cool. "You had no right to do this to me," I said, my voice firm. "You had no right to lie to me, to cheat on me. You had no right to throw away our marriage, our business, our life together." He looked up, tears in his eyes. "I was weak," he said. "I made a mistake, but I was not buying it." "A mistake?" I repeated. 8 months of lies and deceit was a mistake. You ruined our lives, Roberto. You ruined mine. In that moment, I felt a sense of strength that I never knew I had. I felt like I could take on the world, like I could overcome anything. I realized that I did not need him, that I was better off without him. As I walked out of his office, I knew that my life was about to change forever. I knew that I would have to rebuild, to start over. But I was ready. I was ready to take back control, to reclaim my power. I was ready to move on, to find happiness on my own terms. It was not easy, but I did it. I filed for divorce, and I started to rebuild my life. I started to focus on myself, on my business, on my relationships with friends and family. And slowly, but surely, I started to heal. It's been a long journey, but I am finally at a place of peace. I am finally at a place where I can look back on that chapter of my life and say, I am glad it is over. I am glad I was strong enough to walk away, to take back control. As I look back, I realize that I was living in a dream world, a world that was created by Roberto's lies and deceit. But now I am awake, and I am ready to take on the world. I am ready to find happiness, to find love, to find myself.